Broadcasting from the studios of WKEN, where every day it's the weekend. It's the Ken Calvert Show with your host, Ken Calvert.
Hi, everybody. Let me settle in the old big boy DJ chair here and allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and fame. No, hardly. Ken Calvert here. And welcome to the Cozy Studios. I already forgot what the heck I was doing here. I'm starting to get a little stir crazy here in the house, just being in the house. Anyway, long story short, how are you? Everything good? Good. We'll survive this. Tell you a little story here. I was thinking about this, and I wrote it down a long time ago. And I've got it right here in my office. You can see it to the right next to the picture of Mr. Perfect, the wrestler, my autographed picture of Mr. Perfect over there. It goes like this. Only boring people get bored. I had an English teacher in high school. I went to Brother Rice High School in Birmingham, Michigan. All-boy Catholic school, taught by the Irish Christian Brothers, and I know you're going to make some jokes there, so go ahead. Anyway, there was a lay teacher there by the name of Tom Janetta, and a great guy. Really, I mean, everybody wanted to be in his class, or classes, if you will. And he retired, I think, about 45, and I was in awe of that. He moved down to Florida. He always wanted to live in Florida. He was a guy that only drove Corvettes his entire life. That's what he did. He drove Corvettes, and I thought that was cool. Tom Janetta and I caught up. We had lunch about 20 years ago, going back about 20 years. And he had already been retired for about 8 years. And we met at this burger bar called Mr. Joe's, and we were there and breaking bread, and I said to him, Tom, you're retired. You're so young. Don't you get bored? And he said, Kenny boy, only boring people get bored. And I don't know why. I just absolutely, I don't know if he authored that or not, but I love that expression. So I'll say it one more time. Only boring people get bored. I don't think I'm boring, but you could decide that easier than I can, certainly. So, kind of like everybody else out there, to quote the great Styx band, I've got too much time on my hands. Too much time on my hands. Look, my life hasn't really changed all that much. I'm retired, and I have so much crap to get done right now that I actually am starting to try to get some of it done. The operative word there is try. That garage ain't going to clean itself, Kenny boy, is it? No, and it probably won't anytime soon. It's been 20 years, so what the heck? The car still fits in there. Real quickly, I have a couple of quick things I wanted that I jot down. I've got little Post-it notes everywhere, knowing that I was getting back into the trying to be regular with the podcast, okay? Imagine that cartoon bubble above my head. Here in Michigan, we now have safe at home instead of saying shelter in place or something like that. They didn't want to say shelter in place. I know that for a fact. Anyway, the TV is on a lot, so I can't help but notice things. And having done voiceovers for so many years, you got used to reading to picture, as they used to say. And I'm shocked at how quickly advertising has made this adjustment to the COVID-19 world that we now live in and how they've ramped it up. And one of the things that I've noticed especially are the car companies. Everybody now go online, build your own car, we'll bring it to your house, and if you like it, we'll set you up over the phone. We can Skype, we can Zoom, we can FaceTime, whatever you want to do. I think it's great. I think it's phenomenal. It's a great way to move product inventory. But I'm wondering if that's going to change the way we buy cars forever now. I wonder if that will be one of the side effects, subsets, or one of the things that will become part of our new world order. I remember the good old days of advertising when commercials featured, remember handshakes and hugs? I'll tell you who look like they're having a great time. And maybe I ought to think about getting one this summer once we get past all of this. These awnings, I see a lot of commercials for these awning companies. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones in your backyard, where the sun's beating down, you hand crank, and out comes a nice awning, and gosh, it's nice and cool out there now, and Oh boy, can we have fun now because we've got this really tricked out cool awning. These people that live in homes that have like new awnings seem to be really happy people. They're smiling, they're having Kool-Aid or iced tea out there. I mean, there's one, I think it's a national one too, so you can see it where you live. It's like on, all of the cable shows, okay? And the married couple, boy, you've never seen a happier couple. You know why? Because they got that summer, back porch awning. Yes, sirree. Gosh, they're having the time of their lives, and they've never, ever looked happier. I do believe that life as we know it is going to change. It already has, and I think that's a good thing. One of the areas that I think you're going to see a monster change, not unlike 9/11. What came out of 9/11? Homeland Security came out of 9/11. Well, what came out of Homeland Security? The TSA. Now that goes back to 2001, right? So we're talking 19, almost 20 years ago now. That's a long time. So the shoe bomber, okay, he changed everything. All of a sudden we had to take our shoes off. We got used to that. That was fine. Couldn't take any bottles. They couldn't be any more than so many ounces. We got used to that. We got used to a lot of things. The one thing we did not get used to were these super packed airplanes. People would start eating their McDonald's like on airplanes. I don't know why I always thought that was so weird. And they would kind of like, wipe their hands off with the bag. But now here's one of the things that I think is going to come out of this COVID-19 with regard to the airlines. Because they are flying empty right now, so they could probably, not empty, but I mean there's probably only 20 people maybe on some flights going to certain areas. But I think here's what's going to come out of this. I think there's going to be an automatic ground stop of about 45 minutes after every flight. Once people get off, a crew will go in and completely sanitize the airplane. And I think that when people start to board the airplane, there will be little plastic covers over the armrests, the ones that go up and down, the ones that many years ago when I was flying, and I was a smoker, actually, you could smoke on an airplane. Used to be little ashtrays there. Some of the really old airplanes still have that little thing. It's welded shut. Anyway, I think they're going to completely sanitize the airplanes. I think the tray table will have like a plastic, the sheet that you pull off of a new TV or any sort of a screen. I think we're going to start to see that on the tray tables. Just telling you what I think. Same thing with the armrests. Oh, yeah. Overhead, same thing. That's right. I think we're going to be getting on clean airplanes. You know why? Because I don't think people want to get sick anymore. Okay, we got the wake-up call. We got the message with this coronavirus, COVID-19. We know now what to look for. Which leads me to this. Anybody else freaking out a little bit about cash? Touching cash? Now, I got to be honest with you. I was always a little weird about that anyway. I really was. I was kind of a hand sanitizer guy years ago. Yeah, money always freaked me out. Anyway, that's one of the things. I wonder, here's what I'm thinking about doing, and call me crazy, and I am, but I'm thinking about doing this, honestly. I went to the ATM, as somebody once called it, the ATM. And if you've never heard that before, feel free to use it. So I went to the ATM yesterday before we couldn't leave our homes for a while, and I got $200. And I started thinking about it. So you know what I did? You're not going to believe what I did, but I did it. I got, hold on, it's right here. This, for the sake of, we all know that sound now, right? That's the Clorox disinfecting wipes. That's right. It kills Staph E. coli, MRSA, and much more. Kills cold and flu viruses. Kills 99.999% of bacteria in 10 seconds. Why couldn't they just get it to 100%? And it's great for wood, granite, and stainless steel. That's the Clorox disinfecting wipes. Well, here's what I did after I went to the ATM. I set that by the phone, which I cleaned just before we started doing the podcast. Here's what I did. I'm going to tell you right now, and it's true. I got the $200. I put the bills on a board that I had in the basement, and I wiped down both sides of the bills. And then I wiped down the board, put the board back in the basement, and I put the bills in my wallet. That's what I did. Now that, my friends, defines Ken Calvert, Virgo. Call me crazy, but that's what I did. All right, so there you go. That's what comes out of things like the coronavirus and COVID-19. Trying to look on the bright side a little bit. What else? I've got these notes everywhere. I told you about the airplanes. They're going to keep them really... I think they're going to look like... You know what I think your seat's going to look like on an airplane? I really, really do. I think the seat on an airplane is going to look like... I don't want to say the dentist office, because that's the area where you sit before you go in to have your teeth cleaned or worked on. What do they call that? The suite? The dental suite or something, maybe? Surgery suite? I think that the airplane seat's going to look like your dentist's office. And that's what I think. And another thing you're never going to see again, I guarantee it. Another prediction right here on the Ken Calvert Show podcast from the cozy studios of WKEN, where every day is the weekend. Here's another prediction from Ken Calvert. What is today? March 24th, 2020. Here's my prediction, all right? You ready to go? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. We will never see another magazine in a doctor's office, dentist office, any office, lawyer's office, accountant office, gone. You will never see another magazine. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Okay? That's one of the things that I wrote down. I thought that was pretty strong. Wanted to quickly remember Kenny Rogers. Kenny Rogers was, I thought, really, really cool. Just because I'm a monster fan of rock and roll doesn't mean I can't be a fan of all music. I loved, remember, this goes way back. Just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. That was a bizarre song. Really cool, though. It's by the first edition featuring Kenny Rogers. I will say this, man. They did a horrible job of maintaining the videos. I was watching the videos on Good Morning America and all the other news shows the other day when he passed, and they kept showing you got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, and you picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille. And it was so grainy and ugly, and I thought, boy, have we gotten so used to HD 4K video and everything else that it kind of ugh, what happened to those? But he will be missed. He was really, really a talented guy. Oh, here's another one. These are like notes to myself for me to answer with you guys here while I'm doing the podcast. Are we allowed to go out and just go for a car ride if we don't bother anybody? I don't know the answer to that, and I hope somebody can answer that for me. Because, I mean, my folks back in the day used to go for a Sunday car ride. Ken? Yes, Marge? Let's go for a ride. In that big, beautiful Oldsmobile. Well, let's do it, Marge. And they would go for a ride. And it would be great because we'd have the house. And, yay, Mom and Dad are going for a car ride. Are we allowed to just go out and kind of drive? I want to go out and just see what's going on and see how locked down it really is out there. But I saw a thing today from the state police, the Michigan State Police. I'm here in Michigan, as you know. And it was kind of like, hey, if you're not supposed to be out there, if you're not critical, don't be out there. But if I'm not, I'm in a car, right? Just ask them. So I don't suppose I could get my car washed while I was out there, could I? These are things that I don't know because I haven't left the house. I found this interview with Jason Bonham. It goes back to 2012. It was Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Experience tour was coming through the Royal Oak Music Theater, and we got him on the phone and we were chatting him up. And ironically, the date that Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Experience was playing the Royal Oak Music Theater was the same day that the Celebration Day, the concert film, was coming out. He was going to be at the Royal Oak Music Theater on the exact same day that was coming out. So we talked about that as well, which was great because I'll take this directly from Wikipedia. Celebration Day is a concert film by the English rock band Led Zeppelin recorded at the Ahmet Ertegun Tribute Concert on December 10, 2007 in the O2 Arena, London. The film was given a limited theatrical release starting on October 17, 2012, and was released on several home audio and video formats on November 19, 2012. The performance, the film, and the album releases have been widely praised. Duh! Yeah, I would think so. Now, here's the strange thing. I happened to go to Jason Bonham's website, which is jasonbonham.net/blog, and Jason Bonham's 10 Years Gone tour is scheduled to be out there summer of 2020. And being here in Michigan, locally in Detroit, Michigan, scheduled to be in Windsor, Ontario, South Detroit, on June 12th, 2020. What do you think? Is it going to happen? No, probably not, right? Those are my thoughts for today. Here's Jason Bonham. I hope you guys are doing great. I'm doing fine. I'm having a BALL with a capital B, okay? So you stay safe. I hope you'll stop on by and say hi whenever you get a chance. Here's Jason Bonham. Be well, safe, and happy, everybody. Peace and love.
Ken Calvert.
Hello, Jason.
Hello, how are you?
Ken Calvert, longtime listener, first-time caller. Welcome to the program. We're just stacked up here today doing these interviews, so you must get tired of the same questions, but I'm obliged to ask because naturally all of us here in Detroit are very excited about the fact that Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience is coming to the Royal Oak Music Theater on Monday in concert with the release of Celebration Day. So
I know. But I have to stress this. This wasn't planned. This was... I didn't have a say in when Celebration Day came out, and I only found out in August that it was coming out, so I was overjoyed, and I wasn't going to argue. So at the time when my tour was put together, it was kind of strange that I'm finding it, it's going to be quite an emotional night, put it that way, when the release of that and playing at the same night. So it's going to be fantastic. I mean, because part of the show, there's a bit where I go back to the O2 Arena, and I'm talking about the event, the concert. So, with no knowledge that it was going to come out, so it's going to very special. It's full circle and come round, and it finally came true. Well,
let's talk a little bit about first of all, Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience. What can I expect? What can we expect here in the Motor City on Monday evening?
What I like to do is, it's very much of obviously it's all based around the music of Led Zeppelin, but what I like to show is another side to my father, which was, he was more than just the guy that everyone knows as this crazy guy that threw TV sets through windows and did weird things with fish, and, as the rumor has it, and the story, the legend has it, let's say. He was Dad, and he was a regular guy, a great passionate guy about his music and his art form, which was drumming, and became this, legacy and legend of a player, and rightly so. He was phenomenal. So in the show, I kind of talk about him as this other guy, and a little bit more of an insight, and at the same time, in some of the songs, there's video footage of him as a kid, and as this guy that would grow up to be the guy. Even seeing when he meets my mom, he takes my mom to meet his parents for the first time, and there's images of that thrown in with the way it's done. It's very beautifully done to a song called Thank You, which without, the images is still it's beautiful song put together and very emotional anyway. No matter how many times I watch it and play it, when I know what's going on behind me, the images of Dad, right at the end when it's almost like a week before he dies, is an image of him. As this perfectly healthy, good-looking, full head of hair, tanned rock god, that sadly was taken away so soon.
All of us that have lost our parents, certainly, I don't invite people to attend the show based on that, but I'm certain that it'll help us all recollect our own great thoughts of our parents and how much we enjoyed and what they taught us. And you lost your father at the age of
14.
At the age of 14, he put you in front of a drum kit, I'm guessing, at an early age.
Yeah, I was about 4. And that, yeah, I mean, just saying, it is one of those shows which about parents and come to the show, and I do get people come to me, and that's when I, as I say, realized that it was more than just my feelings here. There was a lot of other people getting some form of closure or some way of, people would come to me and say, I'm going to go and call my dad right now. It's an amazing thing. But yeah, going back to, I started drumming very early. Just from the moment I remember one Christmas, woke up and there was a drum kit at the end of my bed, and kind of continued on playing. But really, it was my dad's passing that really made me turn around and focus on drumming, because at that point I'd taken up motorsport, which is motocross, and I became very good in a short time, and was a factory rider and was sponsored, and that would have been a career choice for me. I was one of the top British riders at the time in the age group, and it was right before riders would turn pro here in the States, so I'm a huge fan of the sport. So really it was the turning point in my life. So I think I raced for about 2 more years. At 16, then I went off into the world of music, and everything that went with it, really,
Selfishly, we're very, very thrilled that you did. 2 things I wanted to reflect on real quickly. You said that, and I expect that people do, in fact, tear up a bit at the show, and I'm sure it's a combination of your memories intermixed with their own memories of their own parents, if they are still enjoying a great relationship with them or have lost them. So with that said, I imagine this is going to be one powerful show. And at the same time, you actually play along with your father interactively in the video.
Yeah, on a couple of occasions, because the whole show sometimes came about from, I put together a drum solo for a show that I was doing with Tommy Lee called, it was Drummer Live or something, and we incorporated Moby Dick, like clips from my dad. So at the time I had no idea that it was going to take off so, become what it was. It was just a starting point. So yeah, I used the clips that there aren't many available with good audio, so we had the choice of Royal Albert Hall and then the Song of Man's Fame footage. So I edited bits together to make a real powerful statement, and then I start the solo off just on my own, and then comes to a point where he suddenly joins in on the screen, and I'm like looking around, and so I then play with him, and we start, we're side by side on the big screen behind, playing, as father and son, but this time I'm the old man, he's the young kid.
Jason Bonham is my guest. You exude a real emotion and passion for not only family and motorsports, but especially music. Talk to me a little bit about the release of Celebration Day and the nerves and emotion that must have gone into that show.
I mean, Celebration Day to me is probably one of the greatest moments for me ever, to suddenly have a product come out with Led Zeppelin, but with me on drums. And this is the first time ever. Usually it was my father, so this is the first time for that. The emotions, watching it back with the guys, with Jimmy and John Paul Jones and Robert at the premiere was very special too. And going back to the night, yeah, there was a bunch of nerves, and we went on stage, and all of us, we played to the best of our ability, and I remember Robert saying, and just make sure you enjoy the night. And then we did, and it comes across, and it's filmed so beautifully that you really see how much fun we had. As I said, it was more than just the one night. For me, it was the whole build-up, the 6 weeks of emotions of us me hanging out with them on a weekly basis and probably annoying the hell out of them with all my millions of questions. And it was just a really nice time and a great way for me now to look back on and reflect and say, wow, this was really special, and here it is to prove it.
I have two very quick questions for you. Number one, at what point during the show did you realize that we're there, we're having a ball, let's just rock on?
For me, I think as we started in the third, fourth song in, as we got, we were still enjoying it, but being very focused and kind of just going through the motions, kind of the first three for me. As we started in My Time of Dying, that was time to relax and really kick in, and I think it comes across when you watch it. It's got a really good, solid feel to it, and it just gets better and better and better throughout the show for myself, and the version of from Nobody's Fault But Mine, No Quarter to Kashmir is just phenomenal.
Oh, Kashmir. As we like to say in the Motor City, that is all day. As a drummer and a very weak drummer, you promised me a long time ago to give me a lesson, but because we were talking about the left hand. So my final question for you is this: I've always asked the drummers in all the rock bands that I've interviewed, the one song that you dread the most in the set list.
Rock and roll.
I thought so. Damn it! I should have gone with my instincts. and
because of that left hand.
All right.
Yeah, because when it's not until everyone will go rock and roll, but that's just straight. I went, not if you watch the DVD and see what my dad was doing at Nedworth, what he did all the way through, why it sounds the way it does, and you don't notice it until you really watch him do it. So it's he's doing 16s on the snare as well as the hi-hat. So it's it's one of those ones where I go and I start to focus on it, and it sometimes will make you screw up what the other things you're trying to play in the feel. So I try and mix both in now. Where I can do it, I do it, and where I don't, I just say, hell, that's why he was.
So it flashes on your set list until it's there and done. My friend, Listen, best of luck. Look forward to Monday night, Jason. Jason Bonham, Led Zeppelin's Experience at the Royal Oak Music Theater. Tickets available at tickets.com. And, of course, Celebration Day being released on the same day as well. My friend, best of luck to you, and see you Monday.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You can subscribe to the Ken Calvert Show podcast on Apple iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. It's also available by going directly to www.thekencalvertshow.com. You can reach Ken at kencalvertpodcast@gmail.com. The preceding program is the property of Ken Calvert and may not be rebroadcast without the written permission of Ken Calvert.